Now, I do have a lot of feelings about Space Marine 2. I like it a lot. It is not as immaculately amazing as some people might have you believe, but we're going to get into that. This is mostly, don't get me wrong, this is mostly a praise video of Space Marine 2. I really liked it. If you like this kind of like sci-fi shooter, you probably, you can't lose with this one more or less. That said, it does have some things that I feel like I can clown on, and so I would like to do that now. Space Marine 2 has really had like a special place in my brain. It's living rent free in a way because I really like it. I really like it in many ways. But there are also things about it that still, after now I've played for about 15 hours, I still like it doesn't quite fit. It doesn't quite work for me. And we're gonna get into that in a humorous way. So immediate pros. It takes place in the Warhammer universe, which is really cool. It is just like this huge cauldron of lore, just incredible sci-fi stuff. If you like sci-fi, there is something about Warhammer 40k that you will like. It has super soldiers. It has crazy futuristic inquisitions. It has funny, like taking the piss, but not really, because they're also really scary. It's one of those communities where it has such a fandom that the fandom creates content themselves, and so even like canon gets tricky to define, but it is the ultimate in, I'm going to say low sci-fi, and I don't use that as an insult, but like high sci-fi is defined as like where the science makes sense, where the technology is very clearly defined. It's very low sci-fi. It's kind of almost like a fantasy story. It almost has the plot beats of like closer to The Witcher or something like that, but it is a sci-fi. So like every AI is called a machine spirit, things like that. Like it is a masterful blend of like science fiction and fantasy together. But so don't expect high science fiction. It's really you're the space marine. You serve the emperor or the Omnissiah. I'm not even sure what the difference is yet. But there's heretics and there's bugs. You're fighting like basically, if you're more familiar with StarCraft, you're fighting the Zerg. They're called Tyranids in Warhammer, apparently. But so you're mostly fighting the Zerg or the Tyranids, and then I'm up to a part where you're fighting heretics as well. I've confirmed there's no orcs yet. Orcs are like the best part, in my opinion, of Warhammer. They're really funny, but they're also like philosophically interesting. They have a magic system where their belief, if the more orcs believe something, the more true it is. Their psychic belief patterns actually affect the universe, such that, like, for example, the classic example is they'll paint something red. They believe that red makes things go faster, and so those things do indeed go faster. All this, like, again, it's just a cauldron of creativity between the fandom and the really talented decades of writers, I suppose, who are officially involved with Warhammer 40k. So it's pretty incredible stuff. Now, okay, cons are trickier. People are going to come at me in the comments, and feel free to do this. Correct me in the comments on this stuff. But so a main thing that when people pitch you on Space Marine 2, they'll say, like, this is so good, is the combat. And the combat is very beautiful. It is very interesting. It's kind of like Doom combat, where, like, the more vicious you are, the more momentum you're going to get and the better you're going to do. It's not about hiding or tactically sneaking around or anything. You're just tearing into enemy swarms as hard as you can. And that's fun. And especially if you like that kind of thing, it's fun. I will say that the swarm engine that they use to create the impression of these swarms is both very interesting, and it impressed me. And also, I guess it's just a proof of concept because it impressed me, but I saw a lot of seams in it, and it made the combat feel less like oomph-y. Like you swing your sword and kind of all the little enemies in front of you just burst, or like you fire into a stream of climbing Tyranids. So that's a cool thing, is there'll be like rivers of mobs that are coming towards you, and they're climbing up features in the landscape. So like if you fire on them at the right time, you can really slow them down. But like, so the concepts, as I'm saying, the concepts are really cool. But a lot of times when I was shooting, or especially when I was using melee, I didn't get the sticky thwippiness of, like, I want to say like old Call of Duty, where you would get a very clear indication of exactly what you had done and like where the damage had landed. I really have a poor sense of that even 15 hours in, of like exactly what my crazy brutal mayhem is exactly doing to the enemy. I'm hacking at it blindly. But so yeah, if you enjoyed like Halo, Gears of War, Doom, you'll enjoy this. It has the Warhammer lore is always really fascinating. It's a little cheesy sometimes, but in my opinion, it's always fascinating. And it gives you a lot of, like, you'll see a creature, or you'll see like a weird crazy humanoid, and you'll Google it, you'll search for it, and start to learn about Warhammer lore, and that in itself is like majorly its own reward. But for plot, I say go for it. For if you like these kind of like sci-fi combat games, go for it. If you've heard about it, recommend it already, and you're curious, it probably won't let you down. Okay, let me just say I have not played Helldivers yet, so I cannot say how that compares. Leave in the comments as well if Helldivers is like better and I should just switch over. But yeah, no, Space Marine, I'm enjoying it. It's not perfect. It's not a perfect experience. I would give it a lot of notes if I was a more knowledgeable Warhammer 40k, and if I knew more about this studio as well, I would feel more comfortable giving them specific advice. But there's a lot of things I would touch up in, you know, as like a Monday morning quarterback. But overall, I like it a lot. It's been fun. I've been playing it, and it was cool enough for me to make a video. So that's all I have for today, everybody, and I will catch you in the next one.